ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. There is one story of Dhritarashtra in Mahabharata. It's a very interesting. So here we are discussing how two very important things that are given in this chapter. One is how a person, how valuable it is to get this desire detachment in the heart, and also we were discussing how it is uh, very much important that one become free from this type of mentality. This is the first thing. And yeah, it's all common, but everybody can attend. It's continuation only. Sessions are continuation. Now here the important point is that and second is very important. Second are two lessons actually. One is the test to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and also the because the desire to hold on to these material things, what is the Dhritarashtra mentality one. Second is that without me, how everything will work in this world. This is second mentality. The second part where Yudhishthir Maharaj is going to feel, and also there is a test for Yudhishthir Maharaj. So what happened is. Uh, when this story is from Mahabharata, and it will not be, it will be different in Bhagavatam, but Mahabharata gives this story because Mahabharata is for different audience. But still, we can discuss because it will be giving one point here. That's what I wanted to mention. What happens is Yudhishthir Maharaj made an announcement in Hastinapur after he became the king that nobody, if anybody offends Dhritarashtra, is a very controversial figure, of course. Dhritarashtra, very tragic also. But Dhritarashtra, this is for 15 years actually after the war, Dhritarashtra lives. And Yudhishthir, when he sat on the throne, he gave the first order. What was that? If someone says something bad about Dhritarashtra, he will be my personal enemy. Second thing he says, anyone who satisfies Dhritarashtra will satisfy me. And third he says, if anyone disobeys my uncle's order, that person will not greet. That person will not. He will not be greeted. And he issued the very severe order, and everything. And then everyone all rushed about with the Dhritarashtra to write it. Everybody explained, and everybody ran out him to satisfy him. Because Yudhishthir said, no, if you satisfy the Dhritarashtra, I'll be happy. You have to follow his orders and don't offend. So this is the standing instruction everybody got. Why did Dhritarashtra, except for one person, of course, except for Bhima? Now, why did Dhritarashtra do this? Because why did Yudhishthir do? Because he was so sensitive and he was so careful that they should not get offended. That's the reason uh, he is doing this. But he failed. That is the point. That's what it looks like. That I did so much that Dhritarashtra should not. And 15 years it happened. What happens is Bhima, he could not forgive Dhritarashtra for all the things happened, because especially they insulted Draupadi, and Dhritarashtra did not do anything. Because of him only gambling match happened, and because of only they had to stay in the forest. So what happens once he got up, and Dhritarashtra and Gandhari were there, and in their hearing, they were able to hear. So in that surrounding, Bhima with his friends, and he began to clap his hands and say, see, with these hands only I killed the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. Look, I have them, I have so long and powerful, they are like snakes. I strangled them. And then when Bhima was in this bad mood, he came to Dhritarashtra and began to say, and Dhritarashtra was silent. And Gandhari, she accepted very philosophically, but Dhritarashtra could not swallow it. Now, what happened is, and so he That time Dhritarashtra was too fast, and he decided to eat only one time a day, little bit, and at night he used to starve, and also he told that this should not be told to anyone, and he began to sleep on the ground, eat some simple food, and he almost became like a skeleton. He was dried, and he also started this process because it himself. Now, Bhagavatam gives a different. Bhagavatam don't say this. Bhagavatam gives a different point, and that is very important. What Bhagavatam says is that here it looks like there are some merits to Dhritarashtra. He is practicing himself. But Sutta Goswami want to emphasize at this moment that we can go gain everything only through sadhu sangha, only by association, and there are no merits given to Dhritarashtra. Uh, uh, but all the merits are given to whom? He says it was all given to Vidura. Actually, even Dhritarashtra says, I want to live, I cannot stay. Yudhishthira says, then I'll also come with you. This much compassionate Yudhishthira was to take care of. When Dhritarashtra said, okay, I want to leave and go to the forest, even that time Yudhishthira Maharaj says, I'll also come. So, but Srimad Bhagavatam gives a different picture. And without informing, and of course, Dhritarashtra goes without informing only. But the point is, how did he get that renunciation? The glories are given to Vidra. That is one point I wanted to mention. This is the Bhagavatam's way of looking at the things. Same version, same stories. And now, after doing so much, this is the test what Yudhishthira Maharaj gives. He took so nice care, and then he sees that they left without informing him. Can you imagine how painful it will be? But somehow Narada Muni comes to rescue, and he rescues Yudhishthira Maharaj from two things. One thing is from the guilt of not able to take care of his uncle and aunt, and the second is of uh, second is the guilt of and he gives the enlightenment that because of you, you are not maintaining them, they are maintained by the Supreme Lord, like that. So here we have seen, of course, today also Balram Shikpro gave revision, so I'll not touch. I'll try to take Prabhupada purports. I'll see, we have to complete. As a player, yes, Mataji, I had a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams. Prabhuji, but the realization of Dhritarashtra is very different, no? For the past 15 years, what he's telling from Mahabharata. But he was not completely realized, right? Because he was being insulted and humiliated. He felt that on the bodily platform, at that time he might be desiring to leave from that situation. But when Vidura has made him realize in the way, and he has realized at that time no more, that he has to go for his perfection. The realization is different, no, Prabhuji, when the Vidura has come and instructed him. And his own decision of leaving the house. Both the state of mind is his conscious is totally different, no, Prabhuji. But
we will not know that exactly, because somebody may have get a genuine realization also by such insult. Like Vidra, it happened. Na? Vidra, when he was insulted, he said, okay, good opportunity. I'll leave no home, take sannyas, go for all the Tirth Yatras. It's not happened.
his conscious was entirely different, no, Prabhuji. He took it as a and
Because we don't know about Dhritarashtra's consciousness. No? That is not given in Mahabharata. It was, he was practicing, that is given. So he might have got genuine detachment also after hearing so much. He also felt, I don't have children now, and what am I doing here? So he might have genuinely got also, but that is not very clearly mentioned. But for us, that is not important. For us, important is we have to understand he got because of Vidra only. That's what Sudha Goswami want us to teach. He said he was attached, and because of Vidra, he got detached. So this is a lesson you learn, and we'll say yes. That's the lesson.
because now today Balram Shakti Prabhu was telling one statement, right? He sorry, he couldn't get prema, he got only liberation. He couldn't get prema because
That is because he committed offenses.
Yeah, because that itself shows his conscious not has gone toward, he has gone up to the liberation state. Definitely that bhakti aspect was not there. So his realization was up to that level only, I feel, Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah. Because of his offenses. Otherwise, Vidura could have arrange for him to become a pure devotee because
Pure
Vidura was very
devotee.
powerful.
Hmm.
But if Dhritarashtra would have been just attached to Duryodhana, that was different thing. But because of his attachment, he committed offenses to Pandavas. That's why he could not get it. If there are
Correct.
many people who are just attached, and because then they get association of Nardmuni, and then they become pure devotees. But they get association of Vidura, such great personalities, they could have become devotees. But it didn't happen with Dhritarashtra.
True, Prabhu. Correct. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
As a player sets up and disperses his play things accordingly to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings man together and separates them. So this is a very simple understanding we all need to have, and not only understanding, we need to have faith in this only. This is only how it happens, not by any arrangement. Nobody can do anything in this world. What is the proof that Krishna is Supreme Lord? Because only His will works, not our will. Whatever He thinks will work. It looks like sometimes our things are also working because our thought and His thought matched. That's how it works. Like say, I wanted to now have say some watermelon. So and I got it. So it looks like, oh, I decided for watermelon, I got it. No, Lord sanctioned. Lord also decided, that's why you got it. Otherwise, there is no chance. Because you go around the market, you will not get one more one more watermelon also. That means what? It is not just our desire. That is a proof that every time His will only works. That's all in this world. Prabhupada, right? We must know for certain the particular position in which we are now set up is an arrangement of the supreme will in terms of our own acts in the past. We acted, but Lord decided what to do. The Supreme Lord is present as a localized Paramatma in heart of every living being, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita 13.23, and therefore He knows everything of our activities in every stage of our lives. He rewards and reacts rewards the reactions of our actions by placing us in some particular place. A rich man gets his son born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but the child who came as rich man's son deserved such a place, and therefore he is placed there by the will of the Lord. So this is the point. That means he already deserved it. That's why he is born in such particular place. So we and somebody deserved according to his, he has done very bad activity, then he will be born in a place also like that. We of course we should not say like that to them. It looks little harsh and very not very politically right, but this is what is our philosophical understanding should be. Now when all our senses are in proper, we'll be able to get some satisfaction from the mind. But if somebody does not have a leg, then because we have 5 10 senses and then mind, so the mind gets a pleasure only when all the senses are working properly. If some sense is not there, then a person is deprived of that pleasure. Why it happens? It is all because of sinful actions. That's very clear. We are sympathetic, but we also should know, like we arrange for some situations. I'll give example. One of my friend, here we have an orphanage, semi orphanage. We wanted to teach the children in the private school, and we are ready to pay it. The fees is 35,000 for child, and we were ready to pay. No, the principal agreed, you can pay for 20,000 because they are orphans. Agreed, and we were ready, and we were sponsoring almost 12 children. We collected donation, we paid the fees. But what happened? These children, they studied in government school. So when we took them there, they said, "Okay, we want to conduct some exam," and they conducted, and they performed very badly. The teacher said, for the fifth class child, he said he should be in the first class. He said, "No, no, no, they are very poor. At least you reduce for 1 year, fourth line, fifth, eighth line, seventh, like that." And then, but the main person in charge of this whole orphanage, he didn't agree. He said, no, they should not be 1 year drop. We were explaining, Are Baba, they at least 1 year drop, they'll get good education. Otherwise, you just keep on going. Even 10th also, they don't know basic mathematics. But he didn't agree, and they are now continuing government school. Now, what I want to tell is, we wanted to give them facilities. We got the money, we paid in the school, but they did not deserve it. So the uh, man deserves such a place, and therefore he is placed there by the will of Lord. But when we try to change, I don't work only, then they don't deserve. So we tried, but it didn't work. And at a particular moment when the child had to be removed from the place, he is also carried by the will of the Supreme. Even if the child or father does not wish to be separated from the happy relationship, the same thing happens in the case of poor man also. Neither rich man nor poor man has any control over such meetings or separations of living beings. This is a very important point. Why we have to think in this way, which will help us to be very very peaceful in life and peacefully do our sadhana without any disturbance. Because we know it's already Lord is planning for it, no need to plan anything in chanting. The example of a player and his playing thing should not be misunderstood. One may argue that since the Lord is born to avoid the reactionary results of our own actions, the example of a player cannot be applied. But it is not so. We must always remember that the Lord is the supreme will and is not bound by any laws. Generally, the law of karma is that one is awarded the results of one's own actions. But in special cases, by the will of Lord, such resultant actions are changed also. But this change can be affected by the will of the Lord only and no other. Therefore, the example of prayer cited in this verse is quite appropriate. The Supreme Will is absolutely free to do whatever He likes, and because He's all perfect, there's no mistake in any of His actions or reactions. These changes of resultant actions are especially rendered by the Lord when a pure devotee is involved. It is assured in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 to 31 that the Lord saves a pure devotee who has surrendered unto Him without reservations from all sorts of reactions of sin, and there's no doubt about it. There are hundreds of examples of reactions changed by the Lord in the history of the world. If the Lord is able to change the reactions of one's past deeds, then certainly is not himself bound by any actions or reactions of his own deeds. He is perfect and transcendental to all laws. So this is the point. So this is the theme that continues in this section of this chapter, because this is what we need to develop at the end of day. So people, whenever we feel great attachments or doership mentality, we should come back to this chapter again, read. No, no, no. Everything already Lord decided, so I need not be in anxiety. uh, Working in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feeling of separation are due only to illusory affections and nothing more. So this is also another important thing. All these, family, friends, and relatives, all three are illusion only. They cannot give real happiness to us. That we need to. So everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter. Feelings of separations are due only to illusory affection and nothing more. Probably the actual fact is that every living being an individual part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and his constitutional position is subordinate cooperative service. Either in his conditional mental existence or in his liberated position of full knowledge and eternity, the living entity is eternally under the control of Supreme Lord. But those who are not conversant with factual knowledge put forward many speculative propositions about the real position of the living entity. It is admitted, however, by all schools of philosophy that the living being is eternal, and the covering body of the five material elements is perishable and temporary. The eternal living entity transmigrates from one metal body to another by the law of karma, and metal bodies are perishable by their fundamental structure. Therefore, there is nothing to be lamented in case of the souls being transferred from one body to another body, or metal bodies perishing at the certain state. Actually, there are many things, but it becomes very elaborate discussion. You might have already had so many discussions on this topic when you're in second chapter Bhagavad Gita. I will not go into detail. I'll just take some few points, because already this chapter is over. By Prabhupada, I'm lagging, so I'll try to cover. There are others who also believe in the merging of the spirit soul in the supreme spirit when it is uncovered by the material engagement. And there are others also who do not believe in the existence of spirit or soul. but believe in tangible matter. In our daily experience, we find so many transformations of matter from one form to another, but we do not lament such changing features. In either of the above cases, the force of divine energy is uncheckable. No one has any hand in it, and thus there is no cause of grief. So this is the conclusion. Prabhupada gave three, four varieties of people, what all they think, what are their category. Uh, uh, then the question, so in either of the case, the force of divine energy is uncheckable. No one has any hand in it, and then there is no such. Now the question is, should we not endeavor to change? Yes, we make endeavor to change. That's what we do. But whether it will change or not is not our hand. That's why we should not chastise anybody for uh, a result. We should only chastise for their work. Means if they did not work hard for their exam, we should chastise. But after result, you need not chastise. Arey, why result is this? Because result is not their hand. But they are working 5 hours, 6 hours a day, studying nicely. That is what we need to make sure. Means what does it means? Work means the responsibility is in our hand, not the result. This is the point I want to tell. Like say I'm student, means I'm student means what? My responsibility is to study. I'm a father. What is my responsibility? Take care of children. I'm a wife. Responsibility take care of the house. The human life is a life of responsibility. So when I see it as a responsibility, I will try to do my duties properly. And I will not be bothered about the result. That's what will make us progress. That will make us go to the higher destinations. Responsibility. Human life is okay. Instead of just enjoying like animals, I take responsibility of my enjoyment. Now people don't want to take responsibility of enjoyment. They want to enjoy, but they say no, we will stay, we'll have live-in relation. Live-in relation is what? You enjoy but without any responsibility. Nobody takes responsibility. And many hundreds of people come to hospitals nowadays to abort the children. They say, I enjoyed, now responsibility of the child I don't want to take. So what to do? Tissue termination, kill them. And now what will happen? Yes. So now here that's what is happening. Nobody want to take children. And they try to put the responsibility. Why we are like this? Because my parents are like this, because my teachers did not teach me, because the society is like this. Everybody want to throw the responsibility on others. They fight for their rights. I want this, I want this, this is my right, this is my right. But when it comes to responsibilities, they say no. So this is the problem. Yes, Kalpana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams. Prabhuji, I want some clarity in this endeavor, the chesta and the will of the Lord. Like how far we have to endeavor to understand the will of the Lord. Sometimes it do happens. I mean, he told we should not be carried by the result. Sometimes it do happens like at some certain time we might involve in some activity where we full endeavor, but the result doesn't happen favorably. Krishna might not have, he has not wished to fulfill. But the same endeavor, if you do after some years, the same activity with the minimum endeavor, he fulfills it. So that we can understand, okay, it is not the right time, Krishna has not sanctioned it. But sometimes I get confused, like how far the endeavor should be. Means I'll tell you an example. A girl who was trying after 12, she was trying for aspiring for the NEET exam, and she couldn't clear because she wanted the seat in an MBBS, so she couldn't clear that much get marks in the NEET. So her aspiration was like again she appeared. So
Yeah.
how should we understand this, Prabhuji? The how far the endeavor should be? She didn't accept. Okay, let me get whatever the seat in the medical field as per the marks I got. But her aspiration was to become an MBBS doctor. So she appeared. I mean, wasting the whole year again appeared for the same things. Are we going against the will of the Lord, or here her endeavor was shortfall? I didn't
No,
understand.
they what happens, Mataji? If their desire is very strong, then they will endeavor more time. If desire is not very strong, then they may give it up. That's not a problem. Like Chitraketu Maharaj, when he didn't get children from the first wife, he married second time, third time, fourth time. He married 10 million, 10 million marriages he did to get a child. Can you imagine how much endeavor he made? Even though it is so clear that Lord does not want him to have a child, but still he did not give it up. That means that desire is actually what makes a person to make that endeavor more and more. If they have very strong desire and they are making their endeavor, and then Lord may sanction also in sometimes, because many people in the second attempt, some in third attempt, some in fourth attempt, they get MBBS.
Yes, yes.
They made that endeavor, and ultimately Lord should sanction. If he sees that okay, this person has that karma, that's what is the last shloka is telling. Lord is sanctioning, not like the example of the player is given, but according to our karma, you have certain karma, then Lord sanctions it. Like
But Prabhuji, it could even happen, but later on, the one who has endeavored so much for that education or something, it could happen even later after years. There, the child might not practice, the child might not be successful, and that it could be a learning for that person. Ki, I endeavored this much; it was not the will, but I forced Lord to sanction my will. It could even happen, like Prabhuji.
Lord, we cannot force Lord. Lord is always very kind. He knows what is good, that only He gives. So even you may endeavor 100 times, but Lord will not give. Like I have some my known friends, the couple, they try to art this. They have this some this artificial ways, medical ways of getting children. The test tube and other things.
That's
So
what I was
they
about to quote you to the next example.
they tried 7 times, they didn't had. And and 7 times the child was kept in the womb for few months and gone. 7 times it happened, and every
Hmm.
time 2 lakhs they spent. And now they understood Lord don't want, and they gave it up. They are
Yes.
happy, they have deities and they are serving happily.
Even it happened with one of my close relatives. They were like, naturally it was not able. After 10 years they adopted for this IVF and all, and the child was born handicapped.
Oh,
It was like, we are forcefully, fulfilling our desire. When Lord has not given, means n number of times, if you have tried naturally or artificially, whatever is the process, then going IVF, spending lakhs of time, spoiling your own health, that means it should be understood, I feel, Prabhuji, personally. But people
that
land up,
realization will not, everybody may not have that realization. It varies from person to person, so we need to accept it. Some people will accept very fast, but some it takes time.
very true, Prabhuji, very
uh, uh,
how to make them realize, Prabhuji, the endeavor is enough now. Like such kind of out of concern, I'm asking
it,
because people
it,
endeavor,
it
endeavor,
it
endeavor.
depends on the intensity of desire and faith, both, Mataji. Like
Mm.
somebody has so much faith on Lord, and they're happy with that and said okay, it didn't happen, Lord, let it be. So they'll not go for any other means. uh, like
Okay.
uh, like some activity which we are doing, some preaching activity, nothing is happening in that area. So, okay, cool. uh, Whatever Lord wants, but not everybody will have that realization. You go and tell them also, no, they will say yes, but still they are not convinced about it. They say maybe we have to try some more time.
Yes, Prabhuji, that
So
to happen. Mm.
so we should understand that their desire is very strong. Like I'm giving Chitraketu Maharaj only, he's such a great personality. he he married one I think 10 million times he married to get a child. Can you imagine? What is that in there? But he's not an ordinary person, right?
True. Mm.
So the desire is very strong for some people. So then we cannot say them some things, and they may have faith, but we cannot force them anybody. Let them try, and if only what we can help them to understand is whatever is best, that is going to happen to you. And if you want to endeavor, you can endeavor, but always have faith that whatever is best for you, that is only going to happen, not what you want.
That's true, Prabhuji. That's a good point. Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Gaurang Gopi Mataji.
Prabhu Hare. Prabhu, this is related to the discussion. I'll ask at the end, Prabhu. After you finish the session, I'll ask.
Okay, okay. So, uh, because this is a very important and the question, what if the desires are for service of the Lord and His devotees? Yeah, yeah. In that 100%, we should continue making endeavor, and even if we fail in that also, that is success only. That is the advantage in Krishna consciousness. Like say you wanted to organize a big satsang program in your house and you made all arrangements, and then but some, because of some reasons, only 5 people came, but no problem. You will get full benefit of it. You did book distribution standing in the bus stand or railway station for 5-6 hours, and only one book went, no problem. You get full result, full marks for it. That is the advantage of endeavor in service of the Lord and Krishna, because Krishna does not see the result. Krishna sees only endeavor. Yeah, we only can, what we can do is only we can endeavor, and Lord only is going to sanction all the things that are given to us. But what happens is we should not be lazy in endeavor. We should continue to endeavor. Prabhupada, can imagine Prabhupada preached for uh, till age of 60, 70 in India. For 40 years he preached without any result. And now he's telling, I'll go to America and preach. And people think, Are, you failed so many times in India. And now you say you will try in America. Where is the chance that you'll get? Prabhupada could not make, Prabhupada made only one follower in India. And he's telling, I'll go to America and make. So that is actually a devotee. He will never give up in service of Krishna. Prabhupada says, I thought even if I fail, I'll fail in a new place, no problem. But at least I made an endeavor. And then Krishna reciprocated. So the point is, that is what is important, that we need to make an endeavor to please Krishna, and Krishna will give success. And when Krishna did not give success to Prabhupada when he was young, Prabhupada after 70, Krishna is giving him success. That means none of, I don't think you'll be inside. Many of the Prabhupada disciples, they are reaching 70 now. So, but can you imagine how much endeavor he made? So this is the point. We have to make endeavors, and full endeavors we have to. Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they are, who are helpless, poor creatures will exist without you. See, without us, everybody will exist. Even Yudhishthira had this problem. Of course, because they're blind, and this is what Sridhar Swami, the commentary of Bhagavatam, the original commentator of Bhagavatam, Sridhar Swami, he was married and he wanted to take renunciation and go. Wife says, no, give me a child and child will take care of me and then you can go. And then he said, okay. And the child is born, the wife dies. Now he is alone with the child. You think, he wanted to take sannyas, but he's alone with the child. What to do? Then he was sitting and thinking, and he saw one lizard. Lizard's egg was there, it broke, and a small lizard came out. And immediately one insect came nearby, and this lizard ate, and he was happy. And Siddhartha Swami thought, this lizard is just born, but who is providing food to it? Krishna is providing. He understood. Yes, I understood everything. Krishna is going to take care of it. Without me also, this child will survive. And he leaves the home like that. And one Brahman couple who didn't have any children, they were passing by. Then they see that somebody is crying inside the child. They go inside the house and then see nobody is in the house. And they happily take care of the child, and that's all. The point is, we don't have that much realization. We should not do it. But the point is, this understanding we need to have, this philosophical understanding we need to have, which will help us to practice our Krishna consciousness nicely. And when time comes, we'll be able to free ourselves from all these responsibilities. And that should eventually happen. That we do responsibilities in a very, very responsible way. And when time comes, then we will be able to give it up and serve Krishna fully. This we will develop. And that what Prabhupada is writing, when we think of our kid and kin as being helpless and dependent on us, it's all due to ignorance. See, so clear. Every living creature is allowed all protection by the order of Supreme Lord in terms of each one's acquired position in the world. See, everything is Lord only. Balasya neha sharano pitaronis. That's all. The Lord is known as Bhutabhrit, one who gives protection to all living beings. One should discharge his duties only. See, this is the point. One should discharge his duty only. For no one but the Supreme Lord can give protection to anyone else. So as a father, as a mother, you discharge your duties. You do it. But real protection is given by whom? Lord can give protection to anyone else. No one but Supreme Lord. This is explained more clearly in the following verse. कालकर्मगुणादीनो देहोऽयं पञ्चभौतिकः कथम् अन्यांसु गोपाये सर्पग्रस्तो यथा परम्. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and modes of material nature's guna. How then can it bring already in the jaws of serpent, protect others? So very nice purports. These are my favorite topics, so I will go on speaking. But please don't get offended. I'm like one devotee already gave a comment, Roji, it is too heavy. I said, I'm just repeating what Prabhupada is telling and trying to add some of my, but I'll try to be little more soft. The world's movement for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can be no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by supreme power. See, this is this is the thing. People are working for dharma. Prabhupada is writing here, no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by supreme. That's all. A conditioned living being is under the full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. They are all three material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, ignorance. Unless one is situated in mode of goodness, one cannot see things as. Now, what happens is there is always a fight between the three modes. It is not a fight between this religious group of people or that religious group of people. It is not fight with the religious group. It is a fight of modes. Modes always fight in this world, and because of this modes, there is a fight between all the people, uh, either goodness, passion, or ignorance. And people are passionate now and ignorant. That's why this age is called age of quarrel. Why it is age of quarrel? Because people are there is a fight always between passion and ignorance. That's the reason. Only the man in quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant. That's all. Prabhupada is very clear. And therefore, their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above, uh, the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called Kala, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Now, even the Prime Minister of India, he may have very good intention to help the citizens, but he cannot do only. That is the point. No matter how much he works hard, he cannot do anything. Why? Because he will only do for the body. He is not doing for the soul. You don't understand that Krishna is Supreme Lord and all are servants. I need to serve them. Then he may do some good. Now, otherwise, what he will do? He will give only material facilities nicely. He will construct roads. He will give some food free, or he will give something. All these things. This is actually, even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that the good project is frustrated in course of time. I am not against anybody. I'm just reading the purpose. don't get offended. So it is Prabhupada is telling this. Even if you are able to do something temporary beneficial, the so-called the good political leaders, time will see that the good project is frustrated in course of time. The only thing possible to be done is to get rid of eternal time kala, which is compared to kala sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of a cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of cobra like kala or its integrity, the modes of nature, is bhakti yoga, and it is recommended in Bhagavad Gita. The highest perfectional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching bhakti yoga all over the world, because that alone can save the people from control of Maya, or the material nature represented by Kala, Karma, and Guna, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, confirms this definition. The Ahastani Sahastani Apadani Chatushpadam Palguni Tatramatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. This shloka also I want to give some comment before we go, before we wind up today. I'll just give comment. This is a very famous shloka. Like today we had discussion on non-veg. Those who are devoid of hands are prey to for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are the substance of the stronger, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for the another. A systematic law of subsistence in the struggle for existence is there by the supreme will. There is no escape for anyone by any amount of planning. This is the another thing. The living being who had come to the material world against the will of the supreme being are under the control of supreme power called Maya Shakti, the deputed agent of the Lord, and this Daivi Maya is the agent to uh, pinch the conditioned souls by threefold miseries, one of which is explained here in this verse. The weaker are the subsistence of the stronger. No one is strong enough to protect himself from the onslaught of the stronger, and by the will of Lord, there are systematic categories of weak and strong and the strongest. There is nothing to be lamented if a tiger eats a weaker animal, including man. See, Prabhupada is very clear. There is nothing to be lamented if tiger eats a weaker animal, including man, because that is the law of supreme will. But although the law states that the human being must subsist on another living being, there is a law of good sense also, for the human being is meant to obey the law of the scriptures. This is impossible for animals. The human being is meant for realization, and for that purpose, he is not to eat anything which is not first offered to the Lord. So we are going with a little higher principle. What is the higher principle? That we want to achieve something more realization. If you want to achieve more realization, then we need to follow the rules which will help us to get that realization. That's all. Like if somebody says I enjoy meat eating, and human life is meant for enjoyment, purpose of life at least is meant for enjoyment, and I'm enjoying eating this, but that is not actually going to help. Of course it is dopamine effect only that we have discussed. I didn't tell that part about meeting. Some I have told, but it is all dopamine effect. It is not really enjoyment also. And there is a good sense also. That is, they have to obey the law of scriptures. The human being is, now I say this is given in scriptures only. It is given in scriptures, but for whom it is given? If you just want to enjoy in this material world, you can enjoy. But there is a payment also. That is another problem. Any enjoyment in this material world comes with a payment. Previously, people used to pay first and then enjoy. Now people have credit card system. First they enjoy and then pay. Previously, if people want to beget children, first what they are told to do, go and do tapasya. After doing tapasya, then you can perform this garbhadana samskara. Why like that? Because you already paid for that enjoyment. Tapasya means you are doing tapasya. You paid for the enjoyment. You come and enjoy. So no reaction. You are free. Now credit card, you first enjoy and then go and pay. Then there is a problem. This is actually what is happening. What is the how you get the payment now? All sorts of diseases come. Why so many diseases are coming? Why multi-speciality hospitals are increasing? Because people are not paying, just enjoying. The payment is coming in form of these diseases. Otherwise, you would have just done tapasya nicely and then you enjoy, like Hiranyaksha, even the asuras in the previous ages know that we need to do tapasya before enjoying. Otherwise, we get reaction. That's why they didn't had much diseases. They were happy. Now people just enjoy without payment, and then payment comes, all relationship problems, health problems. Like that. The human being is meant for self. No, now meat eating, it is good or bad. It depends. You want to pay for it because the animal you are killing, it is going through certain pain. Like I was sitting in railway station, one person came and said, Swamiji, so many problems, so many problems. I'm so unhappy. I said, then stop eating meat. I said, you are giving pain to animal. You are getting the reaction. You are also suffering with that pain. So stop eating non-veg. You will all your pain will reduce. This they don't understand. They say, why am I unhappy? You're giving unhappiness to another animal, no? So human being is meant for self-realization. For that purpose is not to eat anything which is not first offered to the Lord. Accepts from his devotees all kinds of food preparations made of vegetables, fruits, leaves, and grains. Fruits, leaf, and milk is different varieties can be offered to the Lord, and after the Lord accepts the fruits, the devotee can partake of the prasad, by which all suffering in the struggle for existence will be gradually mitigated. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Even those who are accustomed to eat animals can offer foodstuffs not to the Lord directly, but to an agent of the Lord under certain conditions of religious rites. Injunctions of the scriptures are meant not to encourage the eaters of animals, but to restrict them from by regulated principles. So you all know this. Oh, there is a big purpose. The living being is the source of substance for others, strong living beings. No one should be very anxious for his subsistence in any circumstances, because there are living beings everywhere, and no living being starves for want of food at any place. See, this is a very important principle. Whatever food we are eating, na, it is not that we are earning, we are eating. No, Krishna is giving, that's why you are eating. That is the point. Sometimes person is very rich and is just caught up in some floods, or sometime in earthquake, or we have seen, no, in Ukraine there is some earthquake. That person had 8 houses, and just overnight he's on the road now. So this is not, and then people there are, no, that's not a wrong example again. What I want to tell is sometimes people are caught in some situations where they'll not get food also for 2 3 days. They're striving, struggling, or some situations happens like that. And if nothing happens, they'll get some very peculiar disease that they will not eat, or because they want to maintain their physique, they are on fruit diet. And I was thinking, oh, it is such a big punishment. You are so rich, and you just whole day you eat fruits only. At least we can eat nice paneer sabji, and we have gulab jamuns also. And we have nice food items. So this is no living being starves for want of food any place. Maharaj Yudhishthira is advised by Narada not to worry about his uncle suffering for want of food, for they could live on vegetables available in jungle as prasad of Supreme Lord, and thus realize the path of salvation. Exploiting of the weaker living beings by the stronger is a natural law of existence. There is always an attempt to devour the weaker in different kingdoms of living beings. There is no possibility of checking this tendency by any artificial means under material conditions. Can be checked only by awakening the spiritual sense of the human being by practice of spiritual regulation. The spiritual regulative principles, however, do not allow man to be slaughter weaker animals on one side and teach another peaceful coexistence. If man does not allow animals peaceful coexistence, how can he expect peaceful existence in human society? The blind leaders must therefore understand the supreme being and try to implement the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God or Ram Raja is impossible without the awakening of God consciousness, mass mind of the people of the world. So Prabhupada says these wars are because of people are eating non-veg. That's why they fight like that. So I think this should be the last look of this section. Oh, tomorrow. Okay, we will take a few questions, and then will anybody has any question? Yes, Gaurangi Gupi Mataji, you had a question. Gaurangi Gupi Mataji, you had a question.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, it is when the discussion was going, so I just want to know more about it. Prabhu, like now they artificially. When a couple is not conceiving, they are going to do so many other methods to have a baby. Like there are some semen donors, so they just take the semen from somebody from the bank, and then they impregnate and they have children. So the children do not know who their father is actually. So I just want to know how sinful it is. Like the person who donated the semen also is responsible, right?
Yeah, problem is na, this is they will get very bad conscious children because the consciousness of the person who are doing this activity, na, they are not a very If they are not in a good state, then they will get very dangerous type of people, and it is very risky to do it. It is very risky to
Yeah,
take
Prabhu, but
karma. Of course,
the person
the
who
person who is
is
giving, I don't know how much he is responsible.
okay.
He may not get much, but these people who are having the children, they will get. They have to handle this child. Handle the child means handle that karma also, na. So if you are having, what happens is they want to have a pleasure of having a child, but according to their karma, they don't have. But they
Okay,
are forcefully trying to get it. So what
okay,
happens is they have to pay for it. Like they they have to pay more for that, and they may think that, oh, because of science they are getting. It's not science. Lord is sanctioning because they are so desperate, and because of which what happens is they will get some pleasure. See, according to karma, they don't have pleasure of having a child. Now they are forcefully taking that pleasure. That means they have to pay for it also, na.
okay,
The payment will be little more for them compared to others.
okay.
Like
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Please continue.
now if a person is having a child born to him, so their family is very happy. They are getting some pleasure out of it, but along with that there is responsibility also. They have to take
Hmm.
care of it, and so much hard work is there, na, in taking care of the child. The responsibility is there, and
Hmm.
then when the child grows, then there is pain also because you will slam
Hmm.
the door and go. So these are things are there, every endeavor there is some pain, and in this also they'll have some reactions to take. If they have done, some people adopt, some people do some artificial means, but there is risk involved in it. They have to, if they're ready to, and they're ready to pay for it, then they can, no problem, they can.
Okay, but it's not sinful, like only.
Not sinful, but
Yeah.
they have to pay for that enjoyment which they are taking.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's what I just want to know. And also to have a child through surrogacy also is mentioned in the scripture, or it's against whatever they are
There
doing
are
on their
methods
own.
like that, because all the Kauravas are born with some artificial, because the embryo was thrown out,
Yeah.
Gandhari hit, and then they were artificially created. So that systems were there even
Okay.
previously also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that, and
Mm.
even Balram was also transferred to Rohini's womb. So
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
so that systems are there previously, which we are
Okay.
doing in artificial means, that were done in a more subtle way. And like no, all these the sorry Dhritarashtra and Pandu were born by Vyasadeva. So there was also donation of semen in that way, we can say.
Correct.
Vyasadeva gave the
Correct.
donation. So that
Yeah.
methods were there, but they were ready to pay for it. So if people are ready to pay for it, then it's not a
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hari Krishna.
problem.
Tanvat Pranam.
Okay, because the topic came, we discussed. Thank you all very much. We'll end here. And tomorrow we'll discuss the last, and whatever remains is homework for you. So I hope you'll be able to cover, because there are many shloka, almost 60. I'll not be able to cover all of them. So you have to do homework of remaining purports. But whatever I can cover tomorrow, I'll try to do it. And then remaining is homework. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam.